This is breaking news.
NewJeans as gateway drug. The past and future of K-pop. The latest B-side from NewJeans is not mean to appeal to a wrinkled old raver like me. I'm not going to learn the names of the girls in the video, be sucked in by the girl crush concepts, and spend loads of money on their merchandise and CDs. However, Right Now is a great track. Many decry K-pop because of the associations with inauthenticity. A few people who I asked about this song told me that K-pop was not their thing and so were reluctant to listen to it. Yet there are only two kinds of music to my ears: good music and bad music. There's good punk songs and rubbish ones. There's country music that will make you cry and country music that will bore you to tears. There are many different genres, styles, approaches, and cultures, but ultimately, there's the music that I like and the music that I don't like. This should not be read as if my subjective music taste is better than someone else's. We are not here to yuck someone's yum. Nevertheless, this is how I understand the latest NewJeans track in light of my own experiences. It's a way of communicating the past to the present while presenting a vision of the future. The track sounds fresh to a lot of young people in their 20s, captured by the whole Y2K vibes and rewatching of Friends on streaming devices. To others, it sounds like a nostalgic hit of the clubs and raves of a past that has almost been forgotten. Although people are often quick to say that culture merely goes round in cycles, we should remember that culture doesn't necessarily repeat, but it rhymes. NewJeans aren't repeating the past, but their producers are rhyming the sounds of yesterday with the vibes of today. When the jeans were new. England in the 1990s was a place of pleasure, progress, and change. It was as if we were standing on the edge of tomorrow. A vast future of positivity and openness stretched out before us like an ocean without horizon. We projected our current state far into the future and imagined that our music, our clothes, our values, and our culture was unlike that which had come before. As humans, we had finally got things right. Gone were the days of colonialism and racism. Gay people were more accepted in society. The economy was growing. The summers were long and dreamy, the politicians young and guitar-wielding. And the soundtrack. Of course, there was the mainstream chart music. A host of bands dominating not only the small shores of the British Isles, but also, to our mind at least, the whole world. Blur, Oasis, Radiohead, the Verve, and the Stone Roses were the kings, but they were joined by a wide range of smaller groups providing anthemic hits like Reef's Place Your Hands and the Boo Radleys' Wake Up Boo. Beyond the pubs and the beer and more beer, there was a world of dance music. All kinds of electronic forms that were the sound of the more narcotically inclined parties. People would take uppers, downers, and everything else in between. Chemicals, pills, tabs, lines, dabs, and bottles were the fuel for driving one all through the night in hazy underground raves or transcending reality with the mind-bending light shows of the big clubs in London and beyond. It was in the former that jumble, drum and bass, and UK garage began to be heard. While the rave scene had previously been dominated by hardcore styles, pop culture soundbites, and big smiley yellow faces, this soon matured into something a little different by the mid-1990s. Drawing on Jamaican influences, particularly the heavy bass as well as the dub versions of tracks, juggle was created. From this then came the various types of drum and bass, a genre which largely removed the Jamaican influences and adopted a more polished approach. The breakbeats, such as that found in James Brown's Funky Drummer, were complemented by atmospheric synths and landscapes and a relatively fast tempo of somewhere between 160 to 180 BPM. Rising out of the gang-filled haze of London clubs, it began to spread across the country, gaining wider acceptance with acts such as Goldie, Ronnie Size, and LTJ Bukem. There was also the Prodigy and The Streets doing their own version of British dance and garage. From that moment, it began pushing itself further into the mainstream. Computer games such as PlayStation's futuristic anti-gravity racing series, Wipeout, and the Nintendo 64's Bomberman Hero had drum and bass featured on their soundtracks, exposing young children in their bedrooms to the genre. Hit movies such as The Matrix and Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels featured drum and bass tracks on their soundtracks. And then there was the Powerpuff Girls. Their theme song and a reoccurring motif throughout the show was a drum and bass track utilizing the funky drummer break. It was this show that got Netsky into drum and bass when he was a kid. He liked the intro so much he recorded it and became obsessed by the sound.